Here we are.
First of all, welcome back. You were very missed.
Oh
Very,
my god.
very missed. Uh,
Whoa.
so we're having like a little special side game tonight to cover what has been up with Very since she was uh, snatched away from the rest of the party by her patron in order to keep her safe from dealing with the Dusk Hag. We're going to just take a peek at where she is, and this will lead into our specially scheduled session that we're having tomorrow instead of Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, but on Saturday because my team is in that football game, and so I'd like to watch them. And my players are gracious enough to allow a reschedule for that.
Yes.
So welcome back. Like I said, we're going to jump right into the start of session questions. If you can remember back that far, it's been several weeks.
Let me crawl into my memory banks.
What is something that stood out to you from last session?
Mostly the emotional damage. It was multiple things back to back to back. And you know what? To that point, nothing has been resolved in general.
Correct.
Like, the family has talked about things, they haven't resolved things. So all of these things keep piling up. And that's kind of what has started to stand out to me over time is like how much is getting added onto the plate of these characters.
Yeah, it's very much like we talked about during session 0, and one of our mechanics that we have in this game is strife. And there are times when you're meant to be, as a character, overwhelmed. And that's part of this choice that they've made to sort of venture away from home and take on the world's issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm glad that you're feeling that way, but hopefully it remains only to the extent that it remains fun.
No,
Do you have any
it.
predictions for this little mini session?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say perhaps more emotional damage.
Okay.
I think Vey as a character is going to come to a new understanding of this deal that she made.
Mm-hmm. Well, what mood is she in?
Devastated.
Yeah, that's fair. So I'm just gonna move us into something that's a little bit moody. It's not a perfect representation of what's going on. It's just for the vibes. So Very found herself. Maybe it's been a little bit longer than that, but at least a few moments ago, pulled away from where she had been in the Thamarwyn woods with her siblings and her adventuring companion, and drawn into this space that really, for better or for worse, it feels like it was like crafted in order to appeal to her specifically. It is a comfortable, somewhat spacious bedroom. It has like walls of bookshelves, and the books have been nicely presented. There's some of the books seem quite old, and there's sort of like glass case doors in front to protect them from dust. There is a large, very cush-looking bed. All of the colors in this space are dark. Um, Not necessarily somber, but like deep, rich, but colors. And this stands out because there is a window that is leaded, so that way the world is kind of distorted beyond it by these little diamond glass panes with this thick leading in between. But that world that's beyond it is like in this perpetual state of twilight that even with her devil's sight is kind of casting it all in this gray tone. But in this space where things have been sort of trimmed with silver and there is like this rich black velvet, there is deep greens and like rich colors in the bindings of the books, and the wood that's in this room is this really, really warm mahogany. And all of that is paired with a nice little writing desk that is set to one side, a uh, armoire that is like just slightly cracked open. And there is a standing mirror that has been turned away so that the reflection faces towards the wall. It can easily be flipped around or turned around at any point, but it's at this point turned away. And all of this comfort is hand in hand with the knowledge that you aren't here by your choice. And the last thing that you really heard from outside of this room was the click of the lock.
I would say that she probably spent a good few minutes like pounding on the door. And when that started to hurt, she kind of inched her way to like that writing desk and like took out her little journal. And she wanted to write about what was happening, but she just kind of finds herself like over and over just writing, "You tricked me," and nothing else.
You're somewhat left to your own devices. Whether it's just part of being a prisoner in this sense, or if you're being given some space. Um, about an hour or two into just being in this room, there is a soft, like, click from behind you towards the bed.
I get up and I want to see what it was.
On the bedside table, you see just like a small little silver platter. There is a bowl of what looks like maybe a stew, and a side plate with some buttered dark bread and like a little teacup. Some food if you're interested.
I think she picks up the teacup and just kind of stares at it for a second before just throwing it at the door.
Okay. When the teacup collides with the door, you see basically like a sudden shimmer kind of go across it. And it isn't like it hit a force field and got repelled back, but that the contact with it activated something. And you can see basically very briefly like symbols and characters on the door that as the ripple passes, they also fade away again.
I think seeing that, she like picks up another one of the plates and throws that in like a different spot.
the plate breaks against the wall that she threw it at. She doesn't see that same effect.
And with the stew, she'll just eat it.
Okay. Fair. Very fair. If you are doing any sort of investigating of your space, you can roll for investigation, or let me know if there's anything that you would like to try, or whatever she's contemplating while she's eating her stew. Okay. The books probably draw attention, and you see a number of tomes, ones that are like familiar to you, that like you remember reading as a child, or borrowing from the bookstore that you work and reading through them. So there's a lot of stuff that you would have like in a personal library, if you had collected them. There's other books that seem more pertinent to like you and your situation. There is a book that is simply titled Shadow Pact. And it's a black leather book, and the title itself is just embossed, so you can't really even see what it says unless you sort of let it catch the light a bit. There are a number of other just sort of books about shadow magic, the casting of magic, the arcane, history of Andromea, things like that. A history of the Shadowfell is there. And there's also like thinner, sort of like just folded and bound, kind of more like pamphlet-sized books, not just like 1 or 2 pages. They're, maybe 10 to 15 pages long, but they're like stuck in between.
I think first she would be drawn to like the Shadow Pact book, and would want to look in that.
And as she's sort of browsing the introduction and like flipping through pages, it's basically just about the nature of pacts, particularly ones that are shadow focused, that there is like a strong connectivity that can happen because like a person who has a shadow patron is sort of bound in a way where it is not one way. So a warlock might find themselves in a pact where they're receiving magic, but most of the work that they're doing is in servitude to whoever this patron is in order to guarantee that they continue to retrieve their magic. This book talks about shadow pacts being a little bit more reciprocal, where the patron is also, in addition to providing power, interested in serving the warlock as much as the warlock might be interested in serving the patron. But as a result of that, you can see as you're just sort of flipping through and noting some of the places where the author kind of makes an aside, and is sort of inserting their own opinion among the facts. That as a result of this, those patrons end up like just getting very fiddly and engrossed in their warlock's fates and their destinies. Like they insert themselves.
Interesting. I think she would take that one and sort of like set it on the bed. And then, gosh, so much time to do things. I think just in like the pettiest way, some of the books she's just going to like start ripping out different parts and taking out like words that like literally anything that says you tricked me. She's like
Mm-hmm.
cutting those words out of these books and like sort of like placing them down on the ground. And she just kind of keeps doing this. Like it's kind of all her mind can focus on right now is that.
Mm-hmm. As you reach out and you grab onto the next book, which is just this thin little like journal, and pull it close, you see your name written on the front in sort of like this um, silver leafed script.
Ooh. Let me open it up. She'll
You
take that and open it.
you open it up and you see written in handwriting that is not familiar to you. So it doesn't remind you of your own handwriting or any of your family's handwriting, and it doesn't remind you of the handwriting you've seen of Grimheart before.
Mm-hmm.
It just says, "You're not alone. This place belongs to you as much as him." And that's written in ink. And as you flip through, you can't find anything else on any of the other pages.
I think she is going to grab what she was writing with earlier and try to write in this book. Who are you?
After a few moments, there's ink that bleeds through from what seems like a page behind, but again, it's blank. Very.
She'll write back and just say, like my family?
Moment you get another inked response. We are very.
She's gonna write, where are you?
After a moment, you get another response. Look for me in the gallery of night.
She's going to close that book and keep the quill that she's writing with and sort of place it in a bag that she has with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to go to the door and see if she can somehow like will this door to open.
So she approaches the door, and how is she willing it? Is she just standing there and staring at it, or pressing against it, or what is her?
I think she puts her hands on it and she's like just trying her best to channel like any kind of arcane like magic into it.
She places her hand upon the surface, and then both hands. That ripple pushes out, but because, or at least as long as she does keep contact with that wooden surface, the sort of silver glow of this script remains visible. You recognize it as sort of like a slanted language from Primordial. And so you can kind of make out what the meaning of the words are, um, but it seems maybe older. Like it seems more of like a root to each of the um, primordial languages, like Latin to English, sort of thing.
Think she would then take out like her other journal and keep like one hand in contact with it and sort of move it around to see like what words she can get out of it and just write them down.
And as she does, as she's moving her hand over, she realizes it's actually quite a lot of text, and it goes into the frame of the doorway and sort of follows the paneling design of the wood itself. And in this sort of ancient script, she realizes that she has a riddle on her hands. And altogether, it reads, "In absence of brilliance, I ever abide. Your silent companion, your shade, and your guide. I vanish with radiance, yet in dusk I remain. Name me, and the path shall be gained."
You have that written down?
I do. I will paste it into chat for you.
Yippee. Fuck, I'm not clever enough. I guess first she's just gonna say Grimheart out loud.
You have there's no reaction.
Damn, you gave this to your dumbest player. She still has like all of her belongings with her, right?
Absolutely, including the bag full of consecrated sand, the pearl.
Yeah, that pesky little pearl. She's gonna stay in there. It's not about her tonight. Hmm. Look, what was that book that we had? I didn't take any notes during this stupid one shot. Well, it wasn't stupid. I just mean like I'm stupid because I didn't write anything down.
Oh, sure. The book that you got from the library in the Mirror Demons realm is basically a book of true names.
Yeah.
And so you can concentrate on a name that you want to learn and open the book and you'll be told it. However, there's a chance that you could basically learn a maximum of 4 names, but the first time you read it, you basically roll a 1d4, and that's how many times you can use this book before you go insane.
Okay. Okay.
So if it's 1, it was 1 and done.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think because I have that book.
Mm-hmm.
I I think she's gonna I think she's gonna try to. Oh my god, I'm nervous. She's gonna try to focus on it and think about Grimheart.
Okay.
Roll a d4. Oh god, I'm really famous for ones. Ooh.
Okay. You will be able to look up 3 names in this.
Okay.
As you open up the book, you have it laid over your arm, and one hand just almost of its own accord, like something else is grabbing it to direct it, moves, and your fingers lay on top of a name, which is Tenebris Core.
I've guessed how to spell it.
I will also provide that for you.
my god, I was only off by one letter. I had a K instead of a C.
Nice.
I should really learn from that. My name is with a C. Anyway.
Can I have you do a wisdom save?
Yeah.
You close the book
Sweet.
rather than feel tempted to look for any other names.
Okay. She's gonna quickly put that book away.
Okay, I'm just going to make note that one name has been read of 3. Okay.
And then I guess like she's gonna put her hand on the door and see if saying that name does anything.
There is a reaction this time. You don't get anything from the door itself, but you don't feel the move, but you feel like everything in this realm that you are in just like pricked up its ears and started paying attention to you. If you want, you can roll a insight or history.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, contemplating this riddle,
Mhm.
you get the sense that although this room was made for you, perhaps this door was not made specifically for you. And so the answer might be very simple. And it makes you think back to just like underneath Tenebrous Core, underneath the name Grimheart, what is your patron to you? What do you perceive of this entity?
Friend?
The door does not move.
Fuck me, I'm so stupid. I have to consult my notes.
Mhm.
My other notes. I have several. Too
No
many.
problem. No problem.
Can she write in the very book? Say, how do I get out of this? I'm just kidding.
She can do whatever she'd like to.
I think she's gonna write the riddle in the very book.
Okay. After a few moments, the book responds with shadow.
Oh, yeah. It's right on the door. It says shadow.
You hear a series of locks unlocking, and then the door quietly swings into the hallway.
She's going to make sure that she has all of her things with her,
Mhm.
and then sort of peek her head out and look around.
The hallway is just sort of immensely long in both directions. It's very dimly lit. You can see that there are candelabras, but not every one of them has had a candle set to light on it. This doesn't really impact you because you can see very well in the darkness, but like some effort was made to try and make somebody who does not normally reside in this place a little bit more comfortable. But whether it was sort of just like sloppily done or lazily done, or this seems like enough of an effort, you're not quite sure. Um, you do see about halfway down the hall to your left this large, dark ball just sort of slowly rolling down, and it seems heavy because you can kind of hear this grinding sound as it moves over the wood floors, and it's just sort of rolling away from you.
All right, she's gonna follow it.
Closely or
No,
sneakily or
sneakily, probably.
okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Well, you can't nail them all. There's one thing I've
It's okay.
learned.
The um ball orb sphere comes to basically a fork in the hallway, a T junction where from where you guys are, it can either go left or right, and it just sort of waits there.
Hmm. She's gonna get closer to it and like tap it with her foot and see what happens.
So two hands and two legs sort of unfold from the side, and this creature kind of like uncoils from the ball, and it's about 7 feet tall, but just sort of like stooped over you. Uh, yes, miss. Did you need something?
Um, who are you?
Oh, I'm the hallway keep. You can call me Nox.
You just keep the whole way.
I'm making it comfortable for you. Oh. And then he like sort of pats down. You can't really tell what he's patting down because he's just sort of just darkness. But eventually his hands kind of come into silhouette that you can see, and he strikes a match and then turns and lights one of the candles. There.
Thank you. How would I get out of this hallway?
Where is it that you want to go?
Can I go outside?
The hand lifts and he points to a doorway that is in the hall. It looks like it probably could lead to a closet or another bedroom, but he points to it and then curls back up into this little sphere again. Well, it's not that little, it's about 2 feet tall. And then just starts rolling down the hall again.
She's going to just check that door
Mm-hmm.
and just see.
Like, look through it or.
Yeah, like she's not gonna go in.
Mm-hmm. So, beyond, you see the outside, what looks like a courtyard.
Okay, she'll go into the courtyard.
Okay. As you pass into it, you are sort of in this place. You can see beyond, maybe 50 or 60 feet away, there's like a gate with this sort of like spiky and coily wrought iron fencing surrounding it. And in the courtyard itself, there are a number of like plants that have dark, like waxy green or purplish foliage and white blossoms that are currently in bloom. There's also 3 fountains. 2 of them are off. You can see that there's a place where water would like sort of spout out, but they're not running at the moment. And then the furthest one actually does have sort of like um, water spouting out.
It is going to leave this door open,
Mm-hmm.
go back in the hallway, and continue looking indoors.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I think she just wants to look through, like, look for any more doors and where they lead to.
Okay. As you step across, there's actually a door right across the hallway from it. And when you open it, it leads to another hallway, as does the next one that you check.
She's gonna leave that door open again
Mm-hmm.
and go into this next hallway.
Okay.
Sort of keep looking.
She's finding, and it doesn't make sense, but every door she opens just leads to a hallway very similar to the one that she's in.
I think then she would turn around and go back to the courtyard.
Okay. And she finds that door is still open.
She's gonna approach the gate.
Okay. The the gate itself is sort of overgrown with vines that, from what you can see, sort of are rendering it like non-functional. The vines like are crossing over the opening and the hinges and like curling up, and they've got pokey little thorns on them. It doesn't seem, if this is a means of exit, one that is commonly used.
I think she's gonna try to light the vines on fire with her weapon.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll. And go ahead and roll for damage. As the saber cuts through, initially you can see that the vines start to grow back around it before it's even completely cleaved through where it is sliced. The fire that sort of radiates off of the blade pushes it back further so that you can see the vines sort of like dropping limply away. Um, but you hear this sort of like woody creaking noises as other areas start to grow more dense and the thorns grow stronger.
Okay. I think she's gonna look around for any other way that she can go.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
You better perceive, you bitch.
As she's looking around, um, above the courtyard, this keep sort of like spires up into the sky, and she can see on a higher level, a shadowy figure observing her. She knows immediately that it is not her patron Grimheart. It is something else. And it's difficult to tell what it might be. It's humanoid, but it seems cloaked.
I think she's going to stare in that direction for a little while
Mm-hmm.
before just saying, "Hello?"
She doesn't get a response that's verbal, but the figure lifts its hand and just beckons.
Am I supposed to climb?
And it points down towards the door that she came in.
She'll go that way.
Okay. You're back in the hallway.
Oh, this has to be a fucking joke. Does anything look different at all, or does it look exactly the same?
It looks very similar. Perhaps Nox has lit one more candle around the corner, so that seems a little bit brighter. But other than that, it seems the same hallway that you walked through.
I think she's going to continue down the hallway
Mm-hmm.
and just try to see like if there's anywhere that she like feels like it's calling out to her to go.
And what does she want?
To go up.
As she's passing through this hallway, she just sort of like stops because it feels like she's been walking for several minutes. And it's just, maybe it's more frustration than anything else. But turning, she opens up the next door, and immediately on the other side is a staircase heading up.
She goes up the stairs.
She is in another hallway. There's doors.
I guess she'll look in some of the doors.
What does she want to find?
The shadowy figure.
The first door that she opens leads out onto a balcony, and you can see sort of against the banister that is sort of guarding it, the edge of this place, you can see the shadowed figure.
Approaches the shadowed figure.
It is watching her.
Do you speak?
Very faintly, because it is just sort of shadows. You see it sort of shake its head.
Do I know you?
It shakes its head again, but then it crooks its finger and points back towards the door that you just came out of.
Can you come with me?
It nods.
Can you lead me where you want me to go?
Its hand settles on Very's shoulder.
She'll move wherever this shadow goes.
Which for a moment is not really anywhere, because it feels like she's trying to guide it, but it's trying to follow her. But she's also trying to follow it. And so they just are sort of standing there for a moment. But she gets this sort of like, it's not really a memory, but it's just sort of like an impression in her mind of a room with art in it.
She's going to go up to a door and try to will that that's where she goes.
And you end up walking into a gallery room. You can see that this space is wide open. There's actually some places where there's a piano that's been set up, and some music stands for sheet music, and some instrument cases that have been like left near chairs in case anybody feels the urge to make some noise. And along the wall, there is a number of paintings of people. And it's absolutely that eerie sense, whether it's just because of how they were painted or there is some sort of consciousness here, but it absolutely feels like every single painting is watching you as you move further in. The shadow figure that's at your shoulder just sort of melts away into the darkness. The paintings themselves, there's a couple of them that are like much larger, like almost life-sized, and each painting has like a little brass label at the bottom.
She's gonna
There's
look for the one that has Barry on it.
And you do. It is one of the life-size paintings that's a little bit further into the space. And um, in this painting, you see a woman who is sort of standing in this swirling vortex of inky shadows and blood red light. And it is an eerie sensation because you recognize the features from her that you've inherited down through your bloodlines. She has a head of this really raven black hair that's just cascading down over a midnight gown, and her eyes seem to be peering like into your soul, like there's a connection that is being made there. And the expression she has is something that's both like defiant and sorrowful at the same time. And you can see these intricate sigils that are sort of woven into this vortex that's all around her, that sort of hints at this pact that she forged with Grimheart. Um, and it feels present, I guess is the best way. It feels like, um, although she is long gone, the energy that is sort of captured in this painting feels alive right now.
It's gonna pull out the book and just write, "I see you."
The response, "We are very," comes back.
I see us?
The response, "Yes."
She's gonna write, "What do I do?"
Response that she gets after a moment is, "Whatever you wish. This is your home."
Hmm. She's gonna put her hand on this painting.
And she can feel the sort of texture of it. And although it's cool, it warms very quickly, the way that oil paint does. And it feels like what it is, which is a painting. But the woman that's in it, going all the way back to when she first understood that she had this ancestor that shared her name, she feels that connection.
I think she is going to just think about if she's crazy or if it's possible to either like to interact with this painting in any other way. To see if she can actually speak with this woman that's depicted, or if she can go into the painting, like what she can will to happen.
Go ahead and make a Arcana check. Make sure that you're using your charisma.
It's a natural one.
You hear, not from this painting, but in the room with you, just a little bit down the wall, a bit, a giggle.
She's gonna look at the source of the noise.
You see, from where you're standing, just a number of other paintings.
All right. Who's laughing?
From maybe what feels like about 2 paintings away, you hear another giggle.
She's gonna look at that painting.
The label on the little brass plate is Seraphine. And in this, you can see a pale woman. Like, she's so pale, she's actually almost translucent, or at least that's how the artist captured her. And her face is framed by this cascade of silver hair, and her cloak is embroidered with these really delicate arcane runes that pulse faintly. Or maybe it's just a trick of the light. But the painting seems to have captured her in like mid incantation, with the way her hands are lifted and the way that there's sort of like a darker shadow starting to build in her palms. And then behind her, this sort of ethereal light is swirling around. And then she bites her bottom lip and giggles again.
Okay, I can see that.
Well, it's just that you tried so hard over there and then you woke me up.
So I can wake you guys up?
Well, if you intend anything, you can make it happen here.
So if I intend for all of you to wake up, I could make that happen?
If you want to. I don't know if I would really recommend it. Some of them are boring.
And you're interesting.
I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily any more interesting than most other people. And at the moment, I suppose I can't be that interesting at all on account of the fact that I'm simply a painting of a dead person. But I would say, compared to Lucien, I am a laugh riot. He's very dull.
You all know each other?
Well, we all once danced with Grimheart. Our voices are entwined with it.
So one day, I'll just be a painting here.
Oh, you're already in the works. It's just simply he's not going to hang you up as a memorial when you're still alive. That would be rude.
When did you live?
When is it now?
Through 3108?
Oh, goodness. Well, I guess it's been a few centuries.
Was the haze a problem when you lived?
Oh, yes. Not really a problem so much, but just a fact of life.
Hmm. Did you ever go through a flicker?
No, not in all of my time. But I did travel through it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like?
Well, it was quite disorienting. And then I thought that I had simply gone blind, but I realized no, in fact, I was simply here. But then I met our patron, and he helped me to go back where I was supposed to be. But it was actually quite a good thing because we made a very fine deal.
Did you trust him?
Why why would you ask such a thing?
Curious.
Yes.
And you never felt any other way?
Oh, I hated him several times, but I never distrusted him.
So you're saying this feeling would pass? Well, did you ever get locked in here against your will because he didn't want you to do something?
No, but I am aware of the fact that you're. Oh, I
I'm.
think he probably just considers you special.
What does that mean?
Well, if he feels so protective of you, then it must be something about you that makes him feel that way. But you should always keep in mind that all warlocks must sacrifice.
What did you sacrifice?
That I regret sacrificing, but the longer you are amongst shadows, the harder it is to stand in the light, and the harder it is to remember why you would want to.
Hmm.
It can be lonely, but you shouldn't fear loneliness. It's in silence that your true strength awakens.
Hmm. I'm not lonely.
Oh?
I have my family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why did you like that? What was that tone? I didn't like that.
What?
You're just being very ominous. And for what?
Well, I suppose it's just the way that I am.
Is it the way that you are, or is it the way that you were captured in this painting?
Oh. If you want me to be the way that I was captured in this painting, then you'd better start running.
No, that's fine. Actually, um,
Mm.
I think that it would be fine if you rested again.
And the painting just immediately goes still. And while there's still that sort of like the artist talent is very good at capturing like and evoking this sense of lifelikeness, you can tell that there's no more animation to this. this being.
All right. I will try again. And then she's gonna look back at the painting of Very and try again to awaken her.
Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
I can't possibly roll another nat one, right? Yippee!
A nice dirty 20.
Oh, it's dirty. I dropped it on the floor.
As you will, this painting to sort of reveal the soul that it captured. In oil, let me be very clear that this is not a captured soul, but just a image that has been captured well. It's very strange because her features are so similar to yours, but they're not blue. And like you're used to like the features that you share with your mother. And obviously she's not blue, but this you feel like it's just like if you had another triplet, a quadruplet, then this would be her, except she's not blue and she doesn't have horns. I see us.
Yes, I see us.
On figuring out how to navigate.
Is it really just that whatever I want just happens?
This is your home.
Doesn't feel like home. I feel like I'm in jail right now.
Why?
He locked me in a room. Stole me away from my life.
Why?
He didn't want me to do something.
What was it?
Fighting a dusk hag?
Oh. There's kind of a like faintly amused shimmer to this painting's eyes now. That does explain a lot, actually.
What do you mean?
It makes sense that he wouldn't want to lose us twice to the same annoyance.
That's how you died?
I didn't die, but I was lost for quite some time. Dreaming.
You were a dreamer.
Unfortunately.
Like the same one or a different one?
Oh, I wouldn't know that.
Huh.
If it's the same one, you should be very on guard. She will be very, very, very old.
Well, you see, there's no reason to be on my guard. I'm here.
I'm sure once the danger is past, you'll be able to leave as soon as you wish.
It doesn't feel fair to leave and have other people solve the problem for me.
Think that you're quite aware how unfairly your path has been designed.
Are we one?
In a sense. I suppose the best way to describe it is that you are the end of the sentence.
Hmm. Am I just you to him?
No. To hazard a guess.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Were I to hazard a guess,
Hmm. But I am more significant because of you?
he's had us the longest.
Hmm. Why won't he talk to me?
You're angry.
So what?
He can be darkness and shadow and he can make anything lost, anything unseen. And in darkness, terrible things happen, and people are lonely and they are afraid. But he is also grim heart. He, for all of that, has very mortal weaknesses emotionally. He's going to feel quite a lot of guilt for making you upset.
How am I supposed to get past it?
Well, escape or hope that the threat goes away. It is, I hope, not a startling thing to you that our pacts are not just bargains made for power, but there is a burden to it, is a sacrifice that is the price of that power. We, who are his warlocks, can sometimes forget that because he cares. But that doesn't mean that you are a child to him or simply a friend to him. You are his warlock. And part of the burdens that you will find is that because you are that asset, he will make decisions that you will not like.
Hmm.
But you will make decisions that he will not like as well.
She's gonna take out her journal that just has like "you tricked me" written all over it and just sort of face it towards the painting.
How did he trick you?
He made it sound like we were just going to talk about it and then it would be fine. And then he apologized and brought me here.
Is he laughing?
How am I supposed to know?
Did you hear him?
The only thing I heard was him locking the door.
Is it unforgivable that he would take you from danger?
What if he takes me from the danger and I lose somebody because I wasn't there to help?
Do you want to check?
Yes.
Have you found a mirror?
There was one in my room.
Mirrors are windows.
Hmm.
What you want to see out the window, you will see.
I'll be back. And then she's gonna exit the door and find the next door and just sort of will that to be her room and see if that works.
It is her room. It always has been.
Always has been. Sorry. She is going to turn the mirror around and hope that she's able to see like her family and Dakin.
The room that is reflected in this mirror is not the room that she is in. It is a space in Inamar that she recognizes as the suite. Vosti is not present in a place that she can see. The others look worried. And she can see Valerius sort of glancing every now and then towards the tiny house charm that is sitting on a table.
Hmm. She's gonna go back to the painting.
Okay.
Are you still here?
We are here.
Hmm. How do I escape?
I don't know that answer. This is your home.
Hmm. Did you ever escape?
I escaped the hag.
Hmm. Could I will my way to him?
He might allow that. It's his home as well.
Well, before I go try to do things, I'm proud of you for escaping the hag. Even if it that situation might be why I'm here right now.
When I entered into my pact with Grimheart, I wanted greedily. And in the binding, I did not put an end. An open-ended contract, we'll say. When I was taken and held as a dreamer, it was for decades. Grimheart bound another, Mordred, in part purely to come and get me. And that was a strange thing, to have another warlock also out and about. It was kind of like trying to be the favorite child. Unfortunately, because I had been dreaming for so long, my life just couldn't outlive his at the time. He was younger and stronger, but mostly just younger, and I passed. But I never ended the contract. And so throughout time, I believe, with each generation, Grimheart's just been waiting for someone who would finish the pact. And I think because you have my name, we are very, it simply fell to you.
To end your contract.
If you wish to.
What do you wish?
I'm dead. I can't wish anything.
What would you have wished?
What I did wish for. Power until the last.
Hmm. She's just sort of like contemplating.
You can see the portrait immediately next to this is the one labeled Mordred. And it is this sort of imposing figure. There's actually a lot of like very interesting like Vosti Valerius energy going on in it. Um because it is this moment that has been captured of this raw power and fury, but like contained. And Mordred has these very angular features that like the painting itself was done not like so precisely and delicate that it looks like almost like a, well, you know, for us a photograph, the way that Seraphine's was done, or this sort of like very impressionistic way that Very's portrait is done. This one was like somebody was just like flinging their arm around making the strokes that painted this. And so it's very dynamic, and it kind of emphasized this dark chaos that was sort of his approach to shadow magic, you imagine. And he has his arms raised with these sort of spectral thorns bursting forth from the ground around him. And it seems that he sort of was able to twist nature with Grimheart's influence.
We should rest a bit, she says to Very's painting.
With that, the painting sleeps, for lack of a better term. It just is a painting again.
She's going to put her hand on Mordred's and try to wake it up, for lack of a better term.
Okay, go ahead and roll Arcana.
Yeah!
What?
Hi.
Oh. Friendly. Hello.
Hi. You are very intense.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
Who was asking you for an apology?
What is it you want?
I don't know, I'm just saying hi. Hey, did you feel kind of used since you were kind of like an object a little bit to just save someone else?
My task to rescue Very is what you're referring to.
Correct.
No.
How long after she was free did she live?
Several years.
What was Grimheart like with both of you?
I don't understand what you mean.
Was it different from when she died?
You mean the soft way that he treated her?
Yeah.
That's not what I looked for in a patron. She felt jealous, I think.
Hmm. So, were you guys close?
We protected each other.
Hmm.
When is it?
3108.
And where are you from?
Demedi.
And does the sun still shine?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Why?
I thought by now Morganeth would have eaten it.
Who is that?
The painting can't fully move, but you get the sense that, like, this has amused him actually. And if he could, he would be sort of like grinning in a wicked way. A creature I raised from an egg.
Ah. And you wanted this creature to eat the sun.
It got quite big. Did they ever rebuild Valarith?
Huh?
You can make a history check if you would like to.
Nat 20.
You recall from an atlas that you had glanced through before you were like forbidden to touch it because it was so old, that there used to be an island off the coast of Andromea, south of Inamar, and west of Sarprak, called Valarith. And it was like you kind of got the impression, although a lot of the ink was faded, that that was possibly considered the capital of Andromea at the time that the atlas was printed. Light is now the capital up to the north.
Mm-hmm. No.
Good.
Why?
It all needed to come apart.
There's a new capital.
There always is.
Far away from where Valarth was.
Cowards.
Why did it need to come apart?
Everything does.
Everything.
All of it.
Right. Well, I've got things to do. I'm sure you've got, well, nothing to do because you're painting. Might talk to you later if I'm bored, but
Please don't.
okay, that is very rude.
I'm not here for your entertainment.
Well, simply what else are you gonna do?
If you wish to plot the downfall of Andromea, then wake me up.
Oh, I actually think I'm good on that one right now. Maybe next month if things keep going downhill. All right? Bye.
The painting goes still.
What the fuck? And then she's gonna exit the room and go up to a door and like just really hope in her heart that when she opens the door she can talk to Grimheart. And she's also kind of thinking about like his real name and like just like really wants to just open the door and just be able to talk to him.
And the door that you open goes into what looks like a study. And there's no candles or anything. And so it's just a shade against darker shades. But you recognize this silhouette that has no volume to it, but is Grimheart, sort of seated over a desk, writing.
Hey.
How? Are you in need of anything?
I think we should talk.
He sort of gestures to a space, and this like comfortable armchair sort of rises up into existence.
Did you live a life before you were this? Like on the mortal plane?
No.
Then why do you have a name?
Everything has a name.
I don't know.
Everything has a name.
Barry told me why I'm here.
I had intended at first to see if I could find something to help you, but I did not know. Your brothers and sister and that cleric move quickly through things sometimes, and I did not trust that they would not rush headlong before I could get you something that would be of use.
So is it just specifically that it was the Dusk Hag? Because I almost died like 2 days ago.
I don't expect that it is going to make a lot of sense, but he's sort of like kind of backs off from what he was going to attempt to say. Let me be extremely clear that I wish for you to have a long, long, happy life. There's nothing that makes me prefer your death to anything. But one fate that I would not give for you is to be trapped inside of your head and at the whims of a creature that can make you dream any number of things, not with the nightmares that you've had.
Hmm. How am I supposed to make them understand?
Well, you can tell them what you'd like to about me. And I'm sure they'll believe you that it wasn't your choice.
I don't want them to hate you.
Do you hate me?
No.
They trust you. They may not like me, but if you trust me, if you still trust me, then they will trust your judgment.
Hmm. Did you choose me because of her?
I noticed you because of her. But you were so small that I couldn't allow myself to choose you. But I did invite you to choose me, which perhaps isn't much different.
Hmm. Hmm. My feelings are hurt.
I'm sorry.
And I spent a lot of time in that room questioning the nature of us.
What have you concluded?
Well, for a good, solid, at least 15 minutes, I thought you were using me. And then I read a book. And I talked to some memories. And I think I feel the same as I always have.
It is never mine to make you feel any less than you are, which is strong and smart and loyal. But to protect you, I'm afraid sometimes I must do things that I would not intend to do. And I know that if it had just been you, you wouldn't be so upset.
Yeah.
I have gifts for you. I am blatantly attempting to win your affection back.
You're bribing me.
Yes.
What are the gifts?
It is what I have concluded that I would have given to you if I had thought of it fast enough. And he reaches into his desk and pulls out a square velvet covered box and holds it out. And it's like this black velvet, which velvet doesn't, it kind of refracts light, so it always appears a little bit darker, but it appears quite bright in this hand that is made of shadow.
What is it?
You don't have to accept it if you take a look at what it is.
Grabs it and looks at it.
Inside the box, there is upon a cushion, a black opal that in her devil's sight, she can tell has like, there's some ability within it to refract colors out of the darkness. There's just nothing in this room to actually do that with. So she doesn't know like what it fully looks like. But there is movement inside of it that's just sort of looks like swirling, drifting smoke. And it is put into a setting that hangs from this chain that is so thin, it's like a strand of a spider web. But it looks like it would be a necklace.
Will you tell me what it does?
This object is an umbral chain. And it has two uses, which I think would be of benefit to you, to your companions, and it would make me feel a lot better. The first is an umbral anchor. You can enact the power within this talisman, and your shadow will detach. And you can leave it anchored to an area as long as it's in dim or shaded light or darkness, and move up to 100 feet away from it. And when you need to, should you need to, you can call that anchor back and teleport to its location, as long as it hasn't been dissipated and returned back to you by exposure to light. Its second feature, which is unfortunately a little bit more limited in its magic, will allow you to detach your shadow, but in this case, shape it in either the form of a cat or a bird and use it as a scout. It can be up and about and detached from you for half of an hour and move up to 500 feet away from you. And you can choose, if you'd like to see or hear or both through the shadow. Unfortunately, that renders you blind or deaf if you're giving up that sensation. But because it is shadow, it can pass through gaps as small as air. The only thing that would send it away would be should it travel into bright light.
Hmm. And
Grim,
this... No, you go first.
I was gonna say, and Grimheart's just sort of like sitting in his chair, but he's kind of like leaned forward, like with anticipation, like he's waiting for more than a
She is gonna take it and like put it on her neck.
Let me put it on your sheet.
Yippee! I love item. See it, I see it. Whoa.
The other item, I'm still working on it, but it should be done perhaps in what you would consider the morning. And it's a page. And I'm going to just paste this to you because it hasn't yet imported into the game like I thought it had.
Okay.
Just so you kind of can review the mechanics. But he sort of gestures to the papers that he's working on, and ultimately it's going to be sort of like a more advanced version of Paper Bird, where you can write a message on a piece of paper with any writing utensil, and you have 10 minutes that you have to write it. It can be up to 500 words, or include a simple drawing if you would like to. And then you basically hold the paper, speak the name of the creature that you know, and it'll fold itself into a bird and take flight to deliver the message. It travels much faster than a paper bird at the rate of 600 miles per day, and it doesn't stop until it reaches its destination, and then it'll just chirp at the creature until it's read, and then the message disappears, and then that person now has that paper, and it can be used again to basically send back and forth.
Cool. That sounds really nice. She's like pretending that she's like not that interested.
Well,
but it's very obvious that she's like pretending.
I hope that it's something that will make your travel more pleasant.
Can I hug you in here, or is that not possible?
It's possible.
She just holds out her arms.
In this space, whereas like in dreams and visions and when he has sort of come through into the material, it's been more of just like this like warmth sensation, but nothing that's actually tangible. This is a very tangible creature. Like you can feel the texture of clothing and how solid he is when he hugs you.
I'm still a little upset, but I think you know that I'm just sort of like that. And I'll let it go eventually.
I I would not consider that a flaw.
I just don't like feeling like I can't help. And I think you know that. And so that's why I felt betrayed.
I know.
And this experience will be really hard to swallow if I lose someone.
If one of them Mhm. If one of them should fall, and you still wish it, then I will send you straight away.
Okay.
But I don't like it.
Sometimes in life you just are faced with things that you don't like or make you uncomfortable. But
I feel like
sometimes the more fulfilling option is to confront that feeling.
I told you that when you started going to classes.
How does it feel to have your own advice given back to you?
Uncomfortable.
Then you should face that feeling.
I shall then. You should rest. I'll work on this and I'll keep an eye on your family.
She just reaches her hand out.
He hesitates a moment and then takes hold of her hand.
She just kind of squeezes it and then turns around to walk away.
As well. So, when Very makes her way back into her room and can get settled in, the mirror has the scene has shifted away from Valerius and Alara and Dakin and is instead focused on a different but extremely familiar dining room. And Very can see the other side of her family seated around having meal. And her mother is at the head of the table, and she looks the same as she always has. Very sees the height that all of the kids have gotten to, and it's a little bit startling to see that they're not like necessarily all children, that they're like two of them have moved very close. Well, one of them is definitely a teenager, and one of them is very nearly there, and the other, the youngest, has gotten taller and just sort of like lanky, and she's starting to turn into just like all elbows and knees, as she's kind of getting her, she's outgrowing her size a little bit. And she also sees that there is a sort of like extended radiance to her younger siblings, these children that are half Asimar. And with that, she also takes note that each of them has a tiny pair of feathered wings on their back that they did not have before. And everybody kind of seems happy, but the place settings have been set out for Alara and the triplets as well. And you can see that like somebody has gone through and not like put a huge portion that would be wasteful, but just put like a little portion of food on each of the plates, as though should they come home right now, it's ready for them.
Oh. I think that she would take like the pillows and blankets off the bed and sort of make herself like a little bed on the floor in front of the mirror and just watch that until she falls asleep.
And she does. And when she wakes, there is like a berry flavored porridge that's available for her. And Nox is sort of rolling around the room and then occasionally getting to a place and like doing like the vaguest amount of feather dusting and then rolling up into a ball and going to the next place just to keep it homey for her. And if she wants, she can continue to watch the Maldosos. If she wants, she can keep an eye on her party and watch them as they're going through the trials that they go through in the mirror house, and then resting, and then fighting against the hag in this weird crystal illuminated glade. But she sort of has a show, or she can explore the manor more.
I think that she would initially sort of just watch the Maldosos until she kind of snaps back in and remembers that there's a very real possibility that her party will face this threat and die. And then I think she would watch that, and every once in a while she would probably get up and like pace around and just worry.
Certain point, which feels like perhaps it's just hours or it could be centuries, because worry makes time go slower. The door opens and Grimheart enters, holding out just like a little like leather folio that has the page inside of it for you to take. It's time. One of them needs you.
She'll grab the page and give him another hug.
And he hugs her back.
Thank you.
I'm always here for you.
I never doubted that.
And then he lays his very solid hands on your shoulders and sort of pushes you back. And then as his hands pull back, it's like all of the darkness in this realm gets pulled forward like a blanket over you and just sort of swallows you up. And then the shadows back off. And you're in this place that is still in twilight. And in fact, it almost feels like you were just sort of shoved outside of the manor as opposed to being returned to Inamar Forest. But you see in front of you several people who are dressed in dark leather of various sorts, armed with swords and bows and everything. And two of them have Skivrocks pinned up against a tree, while the third has a dagger to his neck. And they demand, "Where is she?" But we'll find out what that's all about tomorrow.
Oh my god. Okay.
I hope you had fun.
I did. That was very fun.
Good. Thanks everybody who came to watch and everything. Again, we're playing tomorrow at the same time, just a day early, so 5 p.m. Central. We do have a Discord where we post reminders about stuff like that. And we will
Boom.
catch up. We will have a reuniting of everybody, and it'll be good. And we're so happy to have Kenna back. It was a long 2 weeks. So I'm glad that you had the fun that you were having, but also it was a long 2 weeks.
All right.
Okay.
GG's.
Thank you.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream.